So how can we use the count function? The count function allows us to count. If you read it, it says it counts the number of cells in a range that contains numbers. So we can use it to count this column. And so we have a total of 10 cells that contains numbers. So this is the first one, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, 9, 10. So there's 10 cells that contain numbers. Now, if you try to use it with a column of data that don't contain numbers, you're going to get a value of 0. So that's the fourth function, the count function. It helps you to count the number of cells with numbers. The next one is the Counta function or CountA function. And so this function allows you to basically count the number of cells that are not empty. So these could be cells with a text or a number. So if we highlight these cells, we're going to get a count of 10. Now let's say if we have Mazda, if we have a number 25, let's say we have Toyota, and then 37, and then let's say at Jim, let's say Carla, 12. If we try to use the count function on this, it's only going to count 2 numbers because it counts 25 and 37. It doesn't count this one, which contains letters and numbers. So that's the count function. If we use the Counta function or the CountA function, it'll count every function that is not empty. And so it counts all of these functions. If we try to use it on this entire range, it still gives a 6. It doesn't count the empty cells. Now, there is a function that does count the empty cells, and that is the Countblank function. So notice that we have 3 empty cells, 1, 2, 3. And so that's the Countblank function. So now you know how to use the count and the CountA function in Excel. So number 6 will be the CountIf function. So the CountIf function is very similar to the SumIf function. It allows us to count a selection in this entire column. So let's change this to CountIf. And so this is going to be equal CountIf, and then we need to select the range. So this will be the range, and then the criteria, which is a cell, will be whatever is in a cell B14. So notice that it tells me how many times Toyota is listed in this list. And so we have 1, 2, 3. Now let's choose Mazda. Let's choose something different. Let's choose Honda. Honda should be listed once. Now I'm going to add another Mazda to the list. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So actually, let's replace Toyota with Mazda, because the selection stops here. So I have a total of 4 Mazda car types in this list. So if I change it to Mazda, it will count 4. Now I only have 2 Toyota vehicles in this list. So if I change it to Toyota, I will get 2. And so that is the CountIf function. So instead of counting all the car types that we have here, which should be about 10, if we use the count function, the CountIf function allows us to count a certain selection in that list. It can allow us to count only the Toyota vehicles or only the Mazda vehicles. And so that's how you can use the CountIf function in this example.